this is your first time tuning in, I am Alana Dance, and I help entrepreneurs bring stability, abundance, and purposeful creation into their business by removing the overwhelm, frustration, and stress that keeps them from doing what they love every single day. By using a powerful all-in-one technology solution and with deep lasting mindset transformation, our clients are able to transform their past patterns into a path of inner peace, truth, and authenticity within their business and their personal lives. So in today's episode, we are talking with Monique Derouen on how to overcome chronic pain and anxiety. So be sure to listen all the way through for all the details on how to get in touch with her and some of the events that she has coming up. So welcome, Monique.
Hi, Alana. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're welcome. Can we start off with just a little bit about how you got to where you are today with your mind body coaching?
Absolutely. For many years, I was in a corporate business and I was struggling with severe chronic pain and anxiety to the point that I was not able to live the life that I wanted to live. I was missing out on things and just really getting into that state where the pain was taking over everything. And I knew if I changed my life, I would feel better, but I didn't know how to do that. So I was trying all these different things. I was investigating and signing up for different communities and trying to be a yoga teacher and, just doing all the things that people told me I could do to feel better. And it wasn't really working. And in 2016, I tried something completely different and I got introduced to the mind body world in a little bit deeper manner than what I had known in the past. And I started to really understand the way that the mental and the emotional side of things affected our physical body. And as I began to unravel that truth, my physical body started to change and the chronic pain began to lessen and eventually release from my body. And so it was just too good not to share with other people. So I became trained in the practices that worked with me, integrated all the things that I had tried in the past, and created a very special modality that I now help other people learn to self heal their ailments with.
Awesome. That's amazing. It's just so interesting how all the things that lead up to where we're at in our life just start to click together and make perfect sense to bring us to where we're supposed to be. So tell us a little bit about how to overcome chronic pain and anxiety.
Yes. So the first thing that we have to do is understand that we only know what we know. We only know what we've been taught from our past, our environment, our society, the knowledge that we have collected. And those beliefs is what I'll refer to them as because they're not facts. Those beliefs and conditioned patterns create imprints in our body. And then we react and respond based off of those memories and imprints. And we kind of stay in this cycle where we don't change things, we just do what we only know.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And we're stuck in those repeating patterns. It's really hard to get out of too. And especially when we don't know that there's something else, right? That there's a way out. A lot of people just stay stuck there.
Right. And I think that was a huge thing for me.
Mhm.
I grew up in Louisiana and I had not heard of mind body
Mhm.
work or mind body connection. I knew that I had a physical body and that I had this pain. And I was taught to take these certain steps to stop the pain, to treat the symptoms. So I would go in, I would get a diagnosis, they would write a prescription or recommend a surgery. I would follow through with that. And I would wake up and I still didn't feel correct. I still didn't feel good. I didn't feel healed. I didn't feel whole. And it was kind of a vicious cycle for a while. There was about 5 years where I was hospitalized multiple times. I was on 9 medications and I had had multiple diagnoses. And through all of that, I began to feel really hopeless and helpless, not knowing that there was a whole nother world over here of how to do things differently because I had not been introduced to that.
Mhm.
Again, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know that was out there. And so I had seen, these gurus and heard these things, but it seemed like it was this far off experience. They would go do all this stuff, and that wasn't the reality that I was in. I was a mom, I had 2 kids at home, I had a husband, and I was just trying to function and survive, and I didn't know that I wasn't really taking care of myself. I didn't know that my emotional system had never been tended to.
Mhm. Yeah. And the emotions, especially once they get so overwhelming with everything that we have going on in life, they really do run your life because you don't really know how else to act sometimes because the emotions are so strong around that particular thing. So when you have a client that comes to you because they're having pain, anxiety, and stress in their life, how do you start working with that client to explain to them how the body reacts to start to release that stress from their body?
That's a great question because I think we can all agree that what we think kind of affects our emotions.
Mhm,
If I'm thinking it's a lovely day, I tend to have a little more joy, a little pep in my step. If
mhm,
I'm thinking that this is a really hard time of year, moving more into that, I'm going to call it negative for lack of a better word,
mhm,
but thoughts or beliefs, we tend to feel a little heavier or depressed or sadness, in the physical body.
mhm,
So if we can work on the mindset, the thoughts, the beliefs that were created from the conditioning,
mhm,
and work with the neuroplasticity of the brain, moving into the limbic body, the emotional body, changing the emotional sides, then we're naturally going to take different actions and get a different outcome.
mhm,
So if the mindset is heavy, the outcome's going to be heavy.
mhm,
Now, I can't go in and just say, change your thought, you're going to feel better, because that's not real. Because over the years, the body has acted like a storage locker, meaning every experience that you have seen, witnessed, heard, been a part of, watched on television, heard through your family lineage, doesn't matter, has started to affect the physical body because it's affected the mind.
mhm,
So when the mind and the body are not in that cohesive space, they're not in that aligned rhythmic pattern, if you will, the physical body will manifest illness and disease, DIS-ease, lack of ease,
mhm,
in the tissue of the body.
mhm,
And it's almost like the brain saying, stop the stress, you're overloaded, so I'm going to give you a backache or a neck pain or a gut issue
mhm,
or plantar fasciitis, something like that. And now the person starts to focus on the physical body and it takes them out of what's actually happening in their world around them, which is mentally stressing to the point that the body has to create this illness or this pain.
mhm, mhm. Beautiful, yeah, and I explain it to my clients too as a way of escaping from the world around you, or distracting you from the world around you almost. It's not necessarily meant to be, it's meant to be a signal that says, "Hey, there's a problem, pay attention." But with different types of medicine nowadays and all the different options that we have and what we see through the media and on TV and all these types of things, people are mainly treating the symptoms, they're not treating the root cause. So, yeah.
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 And that's what I was going to chime in is, we're taught to treat the symptoms. I
Mhm.
have a headache, let me take the aspirin. I have a back pain, let me grab the heating pad. But the problem is that when you turn the corner and that same memory is triggered, that same story comes back up into your life,
Mhm.
the pain comes right back. So while we can feel better in the moment, which is beautiful, and that's truly how I survived probably 15 years of chronic pain, was learning to feel better in the moment by whatever it was that I could use to my favor, it was still there.
Mhm.
I moved from Louisiana to Colorado and it came with me.
Mhm. Yep.
So it wasn't something, that was in my physical world. It was something that my mind, my beliefs, my conditioning had created inside of me. And it was very confusing
Mhm.
to go against what I believed was real.
Mhm.
But then
Yeah.
I saw that beliefs weren't necessarily true. It
Yeah.
was just thoughts that we had thought 1,000 times, and now we believed it to be real.
Yeah. Yeah. The fun with the mind, right? It's the mind kind of getting in the way a little bit, unfortunately. So do you suggest belief work with physical work as well, like massage, like things like that?
I integrate multiple things for my clients. So there's movement techniques and processes that I teach them. There is mindset and belief work that we work on, as well as the emotional side. And I think the emotional side has really missed the attention that it deserves.
Mhm,
If you think about it, I don't know about you, Alana, but me as a child, I was kind of told not to feel certain things, or I was told what I should feel.
mhm,
You should feel ashamed. You should feel bad.
mhm,
You should stop crying. You
mhm,
should go to your room and make that noise. So, being a child who is susceptible to everything, who doesn't have a prefrontal cortex that only knows how to feel, being taught to turn off those feelings,
mhm,
and then fast forward into high school and young adulthood where our brain is in a different wavelength, we're living life a little bit differently, and being emotional is not acceptable. So, you're not supposed to cry, you're not supposed to behave a certain way. And so it's kind of like taking all those emotions again and stuffing it down in that storage locker along with all of the incidents.
mhm,
And so now we're adults and we don't know how to regulate our emotional status. We don't know how to feel things without it being wrong or incorrect.
mhm,
So I had to open up that space, first of all, and create a safe story between my mind and my emotional body.
mhm,
It was safe for me to feel sad. It was safe for me to express. It was safe for me to cry. I cry in Target. I think it's fascinating. I'm just walking through Target and I'm crying now. But there was a part of me that in the past would have just gritted my teeth, walked through the store, created anxiety in my body
mhm,
instead of expressing it physically in the moment.
mhm,
And it's really fascinating. People don't actually look at me and go like, "Oh my god, she's crying." They don't care, you
mhm,
know? But our mind thinks that these things will be this big deal. So we stifle the emotions, we push it down. We were not taught how to regulate them or process them or feel them. And so you can imagine these are little bits of what I consider stored trauma in the body.
yeah,
So, learning to regulate the emotional system, feel the things, working on the mindset and the beliefs, and then obviously the physical body is going to change naturally just off of those two things. But I also integrate a little bit of physical movement. I have very specific techniques that I work with clients with. And then also letting the spiritual body come into play with that. So, it's kind of all four things coming into one. And I think that that's pretty new.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, really that full integration of all of our bodies. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't understand, that we do have multiple bodies. It's not just physical. So very interesting. Thank you. So what events do you have coming up? What programs do you have coming up that you want to share?
Yeah, we have some pretty great things happening in our community. It's called More Than Mindset. We do have a Facebook group called More Than Mindset that is free to the public, and you can just join in at any time if you want to learn more about this. We have a wellness week coming up in June. It is June 19th through the 23rd. I will be speaking specifically on mind body connection on the 22nd. So if you're interested in learning more about that, make sure that you go into the show notes and get the link and register there. And we also have other practitioners that are experts in their field that will be talking about mindset in general. We will be having speakers on money and beliefs and scarcity. We will also have an Ayurvedic specialist that will come in and talk about Ayurvedic living, and a relationship coach who is going to come and bring some great information on relationships. And together, we all believe in the same thing, just promoting better health, wealth, and relationships and
Mhm.
ending generational pain and trauma. So it's really coming at it from all areas and integrating the physical, the mental, the emotional aspects to create a wholeness within ourselves, and really just learning to love ourselves in a way that we were never taught to do so that we have this wholeness available.
Yeah, that's amazing. That sounds like a great event. I can't wait. So thank you for sharing. So thank you for joining us today. You can find more information about this event in the show notes, and you can find Monique at moniquearnaudderwin.com or on social media at Monique the Mind Body Coach. So please tune into that event. That sounds absolutely fantastic. And yeah, visit her website for anything else that you want information on. Thank you so much, Monique. It has been great having you.
Thank you, Alana. It has been great to connect with you and looking forward to hearing this episode as it comes out.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.